I'd been asked probably 2 or 3 times over my career would I write a book, and I just didn't think there was a full story there, fill all the pages. I can remember once I was actually asked, I'd only been at Liverpool, I think it was about 6 months, and somebody approached me with do an autobiography on my like first 6 months or first 12 months at Liverpool, because of such the rise to fame, and I ended up not doing that. And but I just thought now it was the right time. Paul Hassel approached me probably about 18 months ago, and again I wasn't sure. I spoke to my family, and we just said, go for it. I think because the reason I ended up going for it was because since finishing football, a lot of, say, footballers go into the media and stuff like that, and I do know a lot of people are interested in what other footballers do besides the media, and obviously I'd gone into childcare, and it was just something a little bit different, and I thought there was a story to tell.
Is there part of it as well, because you hear a lot of footballers who kind of grow into the 40s and the 50s, and they've got quite young kids, and they see these books and they see these pictures, and they don't truly appreciate what their dad has achieved, but maybe when they get a little bit older they can read all about it in your own words.
I think that was sort of a part of it with me. I mean, if we're ever out at all and somebody asks me for an autograph, my kids don't even realise I was ever a footballer. I don't really talk about it that much around the house or whatever, and they're quite shocked. So when I told them I was writing a book or thinking about writing a book, they were like, well, what are you writing a book about, So but they're happy with it. They've read it, and obviously there's a few pictures in there of them, and hopefully, as you say, put a couple of copies in the loft, and they'll be able to show their kids when they're older.
Your house doesn't look like a footballer's house. I hope you don't mind me saying that, but you go to a lot of players' houses, they've got pictures up on the walls, they've got shirts up. Is there a room like that here, or is that not really your cup of tea?
No, I must admit, in the last house I did, but I think my wife got a bit fed up with all those the pictures up on that. But Declan's got a few in his bedroom. He's got my FA Cup shirt and stuff like that, but there's nothing paraded around the house.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the title, and the title of the book is called Robbed. Quite a simple reason for that, and it's probably something that people say all the time to you. If only this would have happened, if only that would have happened. Was that a title that you were quite happy with?
Yeah, I wasn't too sure at the start. I mean, we came up with a few, but when I out and about, a lot of Liverpool fans do say, "Oh, you're robbed of your career" and stuff like that, and obviously that's where the title came from. But I understand what they're saying. I don't really feel like that 100%. I mean, I got the chance to play, from a boyhood heroes and boyhood team Liverpool, and play for England, and play at Wembley, win the FA Cup and stuff like that. So, I was very, very happy with what I'd done in the career. Obviously, it would have been nice if I could have carried on further than 27 and done a lot more.
We'll come on to that a little bit later on, but Crewe was your first team. Dario Gradi, that famous conveyor belt, but there was a little bit of luck in how you were scouted and you ended up at Liverpool, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think there was. I mean, I know Graham Souness, and I think it was Tom Saunders came to watch somebody else, I heard. So we knew they were there in the stands, but just did not think one day they'd be looking at me. I had quite a good game. I played left back that day, and Liverpool had a lot of injuries. So obviously Graham saw something in me potentially, and decided straight away that he wanted to buy me. Which was unbelievable. And getting that phone call, I think I played for Crewe on the Wednesday, and getting a phone call from Dario on the late Thursday afternoon. He left a message saying ring him back. Now I didn't even think Dario had my house number. I mean, he'd never ring you at home, and he just said, sit down. Liverpool want to sign you tomorrow. They want you to go to Anfield. Graham Souness has put an offer in. We've accepted it. And I was like, just couldn't believe it, in total shock. And I can remember putting the phone down and sitting on the stairs in the house and just sort of bursting into tears, because I think it was just a massive shock that, 6 months ago I was standing on the Kop watching them, because whenever I wasn't playing for Crewe, I'd go and try and watch the games, and next minute to be invited to go and not just go have a look around Anfield, but go and sign for them and train and play for them.
What was the next 24 hours like then? Because you were a 4th division footballer, prepared to go into training like you did, Groundhog Day every single day, but instead you were driving to Melwood, you were driving to Anfield to do this incredible deal.
Exactly. It was just a dream come true. I mean, Kenny Swain picked me up on the Friday morning. He took me to Anfield. We met Graham Souness and Tom Saunders. I got changed there, and then the players had already gone, because in them days we used to get changed at Anfield and train at Melwood. So Graham Souness took me in his car to Melwood to train, and that was when he mentioned to me he was thinking of playing me on Sunday against Manchester United. How would he think I would cope? Obviously I said I would do fine, but obviously thinking, what's going on here? Is Jeremy Beadle going to jump out or something now? And I went and trained at Melwood, had a good training session, and then training with turn up there John Barnes and Ronnie Whelan and Steve Nicol and Ian Rush and all them. It was just it was a dream come true. And then Graham took me back to Anfield, signed the forms, which were pretty easy. I mean, whatever he offered me, it was pen to paper. And then they just told me they were meeting the next day, get into Anfield for a certain time, because we were going to stay in Manchester to play against Manchester United on the Sunday. So as you can see, it was just a whirlwind couple of days.
Did they, or were they quite feeling about who they put you in a room with? Because at this time, you're incredibly nervous about not just the fixture, but also, I imagine, the reaction to fellow players. That this kid that's come from Crewe yesterday is going to play against Manchester United tomorrow.
Yeah, well, as you can imagine, in the coach journey and when we stayed in the hotel, I was just very, very quiet, hardly said a word. They ended up, I roomed with Mark Walters, who was also, very quiet, so he was probably a good room partner. And obviously, I don't think any of the lads had a clue who I was. I mean, you wouldn't think that they'd be watching 4th Division football, especially Crewe. So I assume they would all have been quite shocked that Graham had plucked me from 4th Division and was going to throw me straight into the deep end, Manchester United live on TV.
What was the moment like in the dressing room then when he names the team and you're in there? I mean, did you get any knowing glances, or can you remember that moment well?
Well, I was just trying to look very confident, even though I was, as you can imagine, very, very nervous. And it was just, it was hard even to look back now and remember what went on, because all I can remember is just being very, very nervous. But then walking out onto the pitch, just thinking, this is my opportunity. It's no good to say, I'm nervous, I can't play. Get out there, sort of blank the crowd out. And Graham and Ronnie Moran had mentioned to me before, just knew I had a bit of pace on me. Just try and look after Ryan Giggs for the 90 minutes.
Who was at the time about to turn into the new George Best, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, he was, and he did in the end, I think, didn't he? And he's still going now. And I managed to do okay against him, I think. But in the second half, I think the whole occasion got to me. I ended up coming off with cramp. But I think it just been, as we said, 3 or 4 days of a whirlwind that it just all the tension and everything just gave me cramp.
Graham Souness, was he the kind of manager then after the game that would say well done? Or Ronnie Moran, I think, famously wasn't that kind of man, was he? But what was the reaction like from teammates and the management team?
Yeah, as you say, I don't think I got a well done off Ronnie Moran, but Graham Souness and Roy Evans, both came up to me and said, well done. And at half time as well, they just said, listen, same again, just don't worry about tactics. If you can carry on doing that second half, you've done your job. So I was quite happy with that, because it just made I can just go out and play my game. I think I probably slotted in okay. Crewe weren't a typical, say, 4th Division team where you just boot it up to the centre forward and have the big man. It was constantly keep it on the ground and play football. So obviously when I went to Liverpool, they were exactly the same. Pass and move and keep the ball on the floor. So that's probably why I slotted in so well.
And he needs to take an enormous amount of praise for turning you into a right back, because I think when you started you were a box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah, I played a few positions. I was midfielder. Then I played centre half and sweeper in some games. But when he moved me to the first team, he gave me a chance when I was still at school when I was 16, and he put me in at right back. I think it was about 4 or 5 games at the end of one season, because they had nothing to play for, and he just wanted to give one of the young lads a go, because we'd had a good run in the FA Youth Cup. So he gave me the chance, and again I took it, and did well. But Dario always, he would always, sit down and talk to you and give you confidence. But obviously, if you were wrong as well, he would give you the other side of it.
How soon did life change? So recognition in the streets. There's that fellow that Liverpool have just signed. How soon did the car change? How soon was life completely different?
Yeah, well, the money wasn't there, straight away, because obviously, when I spoke to Graham, he said, just sign this, and I did. So the cars and the house all stayed the same. But yeah, I could remember. I think it was about 2 days after playing against Manchester United, I just went into Liverpool shopping, and again not thinking anything of it, and people were coming up to me in the street saying "Well done on Sunday, well done on Sunday," and it was just it was a big change from usually walking around Liverpool and just nobody saying a word to you.
It's funny though, isn't it? I mean, it's fine lines with football more so than anything else. But you might have played against West Ham, nobody would have really batted an eyelid. But if you'd had a real nightmare against Manchester United, the tide may have turned the other way, and you would have been fighting to win the fans over.
Exactly, that's definite. I mean, I think that's when you become a footballer, there's some great footballers out there that have never become professional. I think you've got to have a little bit of luck along the way, and a little bit of fate, and I just think it was there for me. Being plucked from 4th division and then throwing me in at the deep end and doing well. As you say, if I hadn't done well, it could have gone the other way. I could have been stuck in the reserves for a couple of years, then moved on somewhere else.
Let's talk a little bit about the next 3 months, because you would settle into life in Liverpool. What was really nice was you got the chance to go back to Gresty Road and play against Crewe, which was almost script written that you could go back home again. What was the reaction like there?
It's very good. I mean, the Crewe fans are great. I mean, they just love football in teams, and when a big club like Liverpool comes to Gresty Road, it was brilliant. And I got a nice welcome there, and but I was always worried in case Liverpool slipped up and Crewe got a result there, but it wasn't to be. I think John Barnes he'd been out for quite a while, and I think it might have been his first game back, and he scored a few goals, and it was a comfortable win in the end. But it was always nice to go back and see Dario and all the other staff there.
So the success was happening with Liverpool individually, and very soon England were interested in you as well, which must have been another incredible journey for you.
Again, that was a shock that I just wasn't expecting it at all. I know quite a few of the press were saying, have you been called up for England? Because they'd obviously heard whispers, and I said no. I just had no inkling at all about it. So, and then I think it was the secretary got a fax through. I was coming out of training just to go home, and said, you've been picked in Graham Taylor's squad. So again, I was just, it was a bit of a shock, and I remember speaking to Mark Wright about it, and going home and just constantly in the car at home, going home, just thinking, what's going on here? Playing for Liverpool, who supported, and now I've got a chance to go to Wembley and play for England.
You were up against some incredible fullbacks at that time as well. Paul Parker playing for Manchester United, successful club. Lee Dixon at Arsenal, going on to probably achieve everything in his career. Did you have in your own mind at that point though that I'm already up there with these two lads?
No, I'm not really confident like that. I wasn't thinking that at all. And I think when Graham Taylor picked me, I think he was just picking me in the squads just to, possibly just go and get a feeler for it. And I think it was a couple of days before training. I think he was going to pick sort of David Rocastle in that position. And he got picked up an ankle injury, and then he approached me and said, "Listen, I'm going to put you in there now. Again, how do you think you'll cope?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'll be fine." But we were playing a good team. I mean, France hadn't been beaten, I don't think, for 2 years then. They had Cantona and Jean-Pierre Papin playing and stuff like that. So, it was another big game for me, a big debut, but came off okay.
And you nearly scored on your England debut, which is another irony of the career that people say, it's tragic what happened to Rob Jones, could have been the best player ever for England at right back, and Liverpool as well, and also the fact that he never scored a Liverpool goal. But you almost did it on your England debut. That's
right, yeah. I think it was in the first 15 minutes as well. I think a ball came across, it just fell for me outside the box, and I hit it. It wasn't a bad shot, but like my usual shots, it ended up going wide and hitting the boards at the back. But it's gone on for years, that, and I still have a bit of banter with the fans now when they see me out. You can always hear, asking for the pound back, because I think I was like 66 to 1 or something like that, and the amount of times I got shots cleared off the line, and goalies making great saves at the top corner and stuff like that. But obviously, it just wasn't meant to be.